Hi, I'm Lydia with LCTV. Today we're here at the AQS Quilt Festival in Lancaster, talking with Bonnie, the executive director. So can you tell us a little bit more about AQS and what the festival does?
Well, our event is the largest quilting organization in the world, and we have members in every U.S. state and 80 other countries.
Oh, wow.
So we do a variety of quilt events around the country, and the one here in Lancaster, we actually had entries from 40 states and 10 different countries.
Oh, wow.
So it's truly an international exhibit that we have here.
Yeah, and how long have you been here in Lancaster, coming to Lancaster for the festival?
This is our 8th annual show that we've done here at the Convention Center. We started it the first year it was brand new.
Oh, wow. That's
Yes.
exciting. So most of these submissions, are they hand-done or machine-done?
They're both. We make sure that we keep our categories so that we always have prizes for hand quilting, prizes for quilting on your home sewing machine, and prizes for quilting on the long arm commercial style machines where you move the head.
Oh, okay, yes.
Yes.
And so right now we're standing with the Best in Show. Can you tell us a little bit more about these submissions and how they were picked as Best in Show?
Okay, we hired judges who come in and we judge these on Tuesday. So they looked at them by categories. And then after all the categories are judged and they've chosen first, second, third, we take the first place winners in each of those categories, and from that they choose these big winners that we're standing in front of. And so the one behind us is the Best of Show, and we were thrilled because it's hand quilted and it's hand appliqued, and it was made by Linda Roy from Knoxville, Tennessee. We have more than 500 quilts on exhibit. 200 of those are in the contest, and the other 300 are in special exhibits. We have one exhibit that's called Gala of the Unexpected, and it was a challenge that the National Quilt Museum did, and that's located in Paducah, Kentucky. They did it, and they challenged the quilters to use some unusual materials to make their quilts. So one uses chicken wire, another one uses pieces of film, another one uses those little sugar packs like you get with your coffee and tea, and they're all tacked together at the corners. You have to look at that one. And we have one that is made out of smashed beer cans.
Wow.
So it's a little bit of everything.
Yeah, that's amazing. So how does the Lancaster show differ from the other shows that you put on across the country?
Well, everything we do quilt-wise is different. You know, you won't see these same quilts here next year either.
Oh, okay.
You know, it's always new quilts. And then we have vendors who have product that people can buy. Some of the product may be quilt-related, quilt-related like gifty, like jewelry with quilt designs on it. But you can buy fabric and all the tools and the sewing machines. If you're in the market for a sewing machine, you can come try them all out right here at the show.
Perfect. And in terms of design, have you noticed that over the years since you've been doing this, that designs are changing? I mean, you mentioned that, even the materials that they're using, it's becoming more creative and stuff. But have you found that, the way that they're designing, maybe it's becoming, more abstract, or is it still, traditional quilt as we would know it?
Well, we always have very traditional quilts, but we also have those that kind of try to break out of that traditional mode and make them more into an art style quilt. And we have a move afoot right now that's called the modern quilting style, and it's very minimalist. Yeah, minimalist, to where they have a lot of background space to fill with quilting, and not so much of the other design in printed fabric.
Can you tell us a little bit more about, these quilts?
This one over here, this one won the Best Hand Workmanship Award, and it's from Japan.
Oh, wow.
And so if you look at this one up close, you will see that the fabric itself is very different for this quilt. It's a lot coarser in texture, and you can just see the tremendous amount of detail that they've added with embroidery and other stitches. And so this one was made by Joanne Baith from Oregon, and we have a category that's called landscape.
Okay.
And so this was her landscape quilt, and while it looks like this is all painted, all of this detail on the tractors is done with fabric, and then she's done a lot of thread work in the background. Then this one is the best movable, which means long arm style machine.
Okay.
And it was made by Beth Ann Nemish from Allentown, Pennsylvania. And I just talked to her yesterday, and she said, you know, one of the things that I do with this is it's a long arm machine, and it's a 40-pound pencil that's not very erasable. It puts lots of stitches in, so if you have to rip it out, it takes a long time to rip those stitches out. But it's beautiful, and one of her details is this beading that's in between the sections. And that's a trademark of hers. She developed that style, and so she has that in almost all of her quilts somewhere.
Wow, that's great. Yeah, all of these are lovely. So I have to ask you, do you quilt yourself?
I do quilt.
Wow, for how long have you been?
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Since the late 70s.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
A long time. And so I'm a certified quilt judge. I don't enter my quilts anymore because I'm real busy helping work on these quilt shows. But I do teach. I still do some teaching, and I've done some online classes through the American Quilter Society, and I've written 13 books.
Wow, that's great. Yeah.
So I've been around for a while.
Well, thank you so much for your time. This has been very informative. We'll check out more of the show. We're here with Gina, one of the vendors for Bernina. So can you tell us more about the machine and how it works?
Absolutely, my pleasure. Well, the Bernina machines are actually manufactured and made in Switzerland. So from across the big pond come all these wonderful pieces of equipment. The machines you see here on this table are embroidery systems. But that's not to say they can't be great quilting machines as well, because we're at the quilt show. Now, quilters are starting to get into embroidery. They're doing a little bit more of that, as we see on this little great hoop right here. But the 7 Series is our most recent line in the machine capabilities. This gorgeous 10-inch bed, oh my gosh, it has a built-in dual feed system to the machine itself, so it's like a little walking foot built in. Look at the size of the bobbins. A quilter will love. They can sew a long time with just one bobbin of thread. And the precision of the Bernina. Years ago, our phrase was, nothing sews like a Bernina, nothing. And it truly is the phrase we still go by, because that stitch quality is so perfect. About 85% of quilters have a Bernina because they know that stitch quality. So now, as I step on my foot control, the foot lowers down, and I begin to sew. And it's going to take a few stitches to lock my stitch in place. And then all I have to do is glide and guide with my fingertips and keep it right along the edge of my 1/4 inch foot. And as I come to the end, I'll stop, use my little thread cutter, and the foot raises, and it's almost effortless. Almost effortless. I have the perfect 1/4 inch seam on the Bernina machines. And I'm going to go back into my little screen to take me to embroidery. There are designs built into the machine, fonts and design. So it's all built into the machine. It really does make things simple and easy. Everything's on the screen. I say it's sort of idiot-proof, but then they have bet smarter idiots.
Wow, well, this is clearly a really great machine.
It is very easy, very user-friendly.
Yes, yeah. Well, thank you so much for taking the time
pleasure.
to speak with us.
Thank
This
you.
has been very informative. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, basically long arm machines, instead of moving your quilt underneath the needle as you do with a domestic machine, you're actually moving the machine over your quilt. So you're actually drawing with thread. So I'm going to get this started. And we have a stitch regulator on it so that it's going to go as slow or as fast as you go. You're in control of it.
Yes.
I'm going to turn it on. I'm going to hold this and you get to try it.
Okay, so
You just move the machine. Now you have some muscle memory for writing your name, so you could try writing your name.
Oh, yeah.
But it's got to be continuous, so you can't stop in between each letter.
Oh. That looks something. Kind of like Lydia. First time.
And that's basically what all the quilts you see.
Yeah, very
Not
easy.
all the quilts. The ones that are machine done are usually done with a long arm.
Yeah, very easy to use. And So here are some of the quilts that come from the National Quilt Museum. This one that we're standing before is made out of film. So can you just tell me, like, how would someone approach, making this with such different materials? Do you find that most of the techniques are similar, or, what do you know about these?
Well, one of the things they had to do in this contest is they still had to put them together like a quilt and be stitched somehow. So if you look at this one very closely, you can see they've punched holes in the edges of the film to be able to put it together.
Done, obviously, yeah.
All hand done, yes. And so it looks to me like they've pressed those really good and flat, and then they've made a cross stitch to connect them at the corner. They've layered a piece of a fabric over the top to help hold the thing together.
Okay.
So that helps to give it some stabilization. It also makes it so that you have multiple layers.
Wow, yeah.
It isn't a quilt unless it's hooked together with stitches.
Yes.
So those are the stitches that hold it together.
Yep.
Their quilt was done on screening material, like fiberglass screening material.
Yes.
And then it was attached. Looks to me like she did some threads here and here where she attached it to the background. Maybe staples. I think it's staples.
Okay. Wow.
Smashed all the cans and made it totally unique.
Yeah, very unique.
Okay, now who knew there were this many colors of duct tape available?
Exactly.
I sure didn't. But this one again is made out of duct tape totally, and they've punched holes again to use thread to be able to put it together.
Wow, yeah, no, it's amazing how much you can do with a quilt.
Totally different. And of course she even did a border. It's all made out, everything in here is made out of duct tape. Well, it just goes to show you that you literally can make a quilt out of almost anything.
Almost anything. So can you tell me a little bit about this exhibit?
Yes, this is a collection of 20 by 20 quilts representing the Lion King. It was a challenge put out by Cherrywood Fabric in 2016. As you can see, they're using very specific fabrics by Cherrywood in their quilts. And all the quilts are 20 by 20. They represent either Simba or other aspects of the Lion King. They're really quite gorgeous, and they come with us. They're touring with us this year, so we're really excited to have them. This piece, End of the Spin, is a Melissa Sabaka quilt, and we actually have a Melissa Sabaka exhibit with us here. Focus on Fiber. She's touring with us this year. This quilt is actually an award-winning quilt that has won right here in the Lancaster County Convention Center in the past.
Wow, yeah, that's great. I mean, it looks like a painting too. This definitely shows,
She has amazing depth, amazing, grasp of depth and value, and she's really talented. This quilt was made by Flora Joy. She's one of our authors, and she specializes in the trispective 3-in-1 quilt. So from each perspective, you see a different image. It's really amazing.
So we're here in the Lancaster Convention Center with Catherine Rupp, and thank you so much for showing us around.
Oh, it was my pleasure.
Yeah, perfect.
This is a really fun experience for quilters and fiber art lovers in general. There's over 500 quilts on display, over 200 vendor booths, and tons of classes and workshops so people can really enjoy themselves.
Wow, yeah, well, it'll be a great place to check out.
Thank you.